All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to PTZOptics and HuddleCamHD Live. I'm your host, Tess Protesco, joined by a little friend you may hear in the background because we are virtual today, working remotely, like so many of the educators that may or may not be in the chat today. We are discussing effective learning tools for remote or in-person education. We're live every Thursday, the first Thursday of the month only at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Today, I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts, Miss Julia Sherwin, who is the Director of Communications with us at PTZOptics and HuddleCamHD, and Mr. Stephen Haywood, our Broadcast Engineer. Hey, guys.
Hey, Tess.
Hey, Tess.
Thank you for hanging out with me today. First time live, like all summer almost, it feels like.
It's great to be here. And it's funny because, you know, we talked about all of these, the importance of these technologies because of everything that unfolded in the last year and a half with the pandemic. And obviously children, you know, in K through 12 institutions, as well as higher education institutions, they had to attend school in a remote setting. But just in this area of where we live in southeastern Pennsylvania, we did in fact get hit by the storm very badly. So schools are closed today. We had a lot of localized flooding and, you know, just some of the other things that you don't think about where reasons why you want to make sure that you have, you know, these hybrid settings in place. So it was a crazy, it's a beautiful day here, sunny in the area, but we had a crazy storm here, localized tornadoes and flooding. So our thoughts and prayers definitely go out to the local communities here in Chester County, Coatesville, Downingtown. We're thinking about all of them.
That's a great point, Julia. And just while we have that on topic, because we know so many schools are closed, just like your kids' schools, how are they doing school today? Is there any remote learning happening, or is it just a snow day?
Well, isn't that funny? It is sort of considered like we got the notice that the makeup day will be November the 29th for today. Nobody is doing school remotely. I think we experienced a little bit of, you know, remote learning fatigue. And I know certainly both parents and teachers experience that. But, you know, having those hybrid capabilities are so important because you don't want to have to make up a lot of snow days or sick days. And this whole Delta variant of the COVID-19 pandemic is very concerning because like my youngest child can't yet get vaccinated. Tess, you've got two children who are under 12. They're not able to be vaccinated. So yeah, definitely having these technologies in place is important. But today they are outside playing, which is very nice.
Well, that's good to hear. And I'm happy that they were able to do that. And as schools are back in session, I mean, there's some students that haven't been in the building for over 350 days, for up to close to 500 days. And I've been hearing that so often. As schools are returning to in-person learning, we are seeing a high consideration for having some sort of remote plan in place if things do, you know, get worse, or if they are forced to have an online experience. And we're going to share a little bit about that today with you, starting off with our own experiences from some of our customers. Stephen actually had a wonderful opportunity to work with a local school in his area in Hubbard, Ohio, Hubbard High School. And he's going to share with us a project that he's worked on with their high school for using a live streaming system for a multitude of reasons. Some of those we're going to share with you today. We got a quick video that we're going to introduce to you with this. We were able to join with Jeffrey Bradbury of TeacherCast. He's sort of a really great influencer in the industry for educators looking to learn about technology in the classroom. We teamed up with him and the good folks from Hubbard High School to talk about the system that they've recently implemented. Stephen, let's take a look at that.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is TeacherCast podcast episode number 227. Welcome back to another great school year. I'm excited to get back into the classroom, and there are so many great things happening over here on the TeacherCast Educational Network. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today. Today, I have an amazing show, and we're going to be talking to two guests all about some of the things that they're doing for education in the world of video streaming. That's right. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been working with some friends over at PTZOptics to talk a little bit about what school districts are doing and can be doing to help not only communicate with each other, but also to get their messages and curriculum out to the community. If you have any questions about today's episode, don't forget to check out our archives over at teachercast.net. We've got all of our shows. And don't forget, you can join our free TeacherCast Tech Coaches Network by heading over to askthetechcoach.com. Would love to have you guys be a part of TeacherCast as we head into the 2021 school year. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. I want to bring on my first guest today. He is an employee for the Hubbard Village School District, where he not only does a little bit of music, but he also does a little bit of athletics, and he's been doing some pretty neat things in the world of video. I want to bring on today my good friend, Mr. Scott Killian. Scott, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
Doing well, Jeff. Thank you.
It is so great to have you guys here. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, let's see here. I am call it a supplemental employee for the Hubbard schools. Do, like, as you said, I coach bowling. I work with the band program.
Scott, it's great to have you. And, I'm looking at this school year a little bit different. Last year, we were trying to figure out how to teach in a hybrid learning environment. We used things like Zoom. We used things like Google Meets, Microsoft Teams meetings. But right now, as we're heading into this year, school districts are looking for something a little bit beyond that. It's more than just having a virtual classroom. It's about having virtual meeting rooms. It's about setting up auditoriums and board meetings so that they can do some amazing things and, most importantly, I think, keep their communities safe. I know my district last year was very successful in doing virtual hybrid meetings. I know everybody around the country is trying to figure out what is that solution. Before we really deep dive into some of the things that are happening around the country, I wanted to ask you, Scott, what's been happening in your school district? What are some of the things that you're doing to make sure that your district is connecting with your community?
This year, we're actually just working on creating an environment really where we can build a video streaming environment to where whether you're in person, at home, on your mobile device, we can stay connected with the community.
And that's what I think what most school districts are looking for. How do we stay connected? How do we get our messages out? I mean, it's more than just those board meetings. It is those orchestra concerts. It is those band practices. It is those sporting events. So many different things require video streaming these days. And today we're excited to talk about a brand new solution out there for the education environment. And to do so, I want to bring on my good friend, Stephen Haywood, the broadcast engineer for PTZOptics. Steve, how are you today? Welcome to TeacherCast.
Hey, Jeff, it's great to be here.
It is so nice to have you. Talk to us a little bit about what's happening these days over at PTZOptics.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been really rocking and rolling with these cameras, being able to help schools, in the case of Hubbard, to be able to have no camera operators to control a camera. For those that don't know, a PTZOptics camera, PTZ stands for pan, tilt, and zoom. So essentially, a person can control the camera without having a physical camera operator, Jeff.
And that's important, right? Because so many of these camera systems are traditional camera or phone or something on a tripod, and there's always needing to be that person behind, which is sometimes an adult, sometimes it's a student, but you have to do something physically. I love the different solutions from PTZOptics, so that way you can set it up, and no matter where you are in that room, that camera has the opportunity to follow and track. How does a school district get connected with PTZOptics? Where do we go to look for more information about these products?
Well, you can visit our website at PTZOptics.com. We're pretty much PTZOptics everywhere on your favorite social platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And we also produce video as well as live streams that help schools, anybody that's looking to get live streaming. We have videos for it to help you get started, and so you're not feeling inundated or unsure of how to set this stuff up.
And I like that. when I'm looking for a solution, I'm always looking for that professional development aspect of it. Do I need to learn something? Is there a major learning curve? And I love that when I work with PTZOptics, everything is right there in front. Now, Steve, anybody that's listening to this wants to ask the big question about budget. How do I budget for something like this? Is this something where you buy one camera? Is this something where you buy another camera? Let's just give you a quick scenario here. If I'm putting together something for a boardroom, like my board of education or my principal, superintendent's office, like that, what kind of things should I be thinking about when outfitting a conference room?
So we have a lot of different products that range from just a simple webcam at a sub $100 price point, all the way up to a camera like you're seeing me on, that ranges, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000, depending on what your need is, right? So we have a lot of different products. We also have a sister company called HuddleCamHD, which specializes a lot in conference rooms and things like that. So there's a lot of technology here, Jeff, that you can use and get in at a very reasonable budget without having to buy 10 cameras to achieve that goal.
And are these cameras both inside and outside? Because that's usually the other question that I get when I'm doing, my podcasting workshops and stuff. Can I buy cameras for outside that are of good quality? Can they reach the 50-yard line? What would you suggest for anybody wanting to do something like this for, say, a graduation stadium or a sporting event?
Sure. We actually sell enclosures that you can put these cameras in that make them weatherproof, basically, so you can leave them up all year round. And one of the beauties of these cameras is having the NDI, or Network Device Interface, from NewTek. Having just power over Ethernet, or PoE, if you've heard that acronym, running just an Ethernet cable to that camera on the football field with one of our, say, 30X cameras, being able to pick up the 50-yard line or be able to scale almost the whole football field is really remarkable when considering camera technology.
Now, Stephen, you've had an opportunity to work with school districts, specifically with Scott over at Hubbard Village. Guys, talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you guys have been doing together to help your community.
Well, Scott, I think this got started back when we were asked to do, I think it was a year and a half ago, we were asked to do the Memorial Day venture, right?
Yeah.
So Scott came to me and he says, hey, the mayor of Hubbard would like us to do that. And then we started talking as we're doing this and prepping. And he said, hey, we'd really like to get something going at the school. We went in for band night, right? No parents were allowed to go to band night.
Correct.
And we were there, and they kept us there for quite some time because they were like, this looks awesome. We had the camera set up. I brought my whole rig with vMix and Wirecast gear, and we were switching different pieces of software, being able to for things that we needed. And then it brought us to you asking about getting cameras inside the classroom. And why don't you talk a little bit about what they're doing? They have a class for this.
Mm-hmm. Well, really, actually, you missed one section. It was actually towards the bowling season also, too. Getting right to where some sporting events were allowed to have 2 spectators, say, per student. Being the bowling coach also, we were allowed to have 0 spectators at all. So right out the gate, it was, okay, Stephen, how do we get our match out to the public? And thankfully, most centers these days have internet. So a couple cameras and a personal computer of mine with Wirecast, and next thing you know, from our first match to the state high school bowling tournament, our families were able to have a phenomenal production, very simple, very cost effective, and realistic to what we were using to them. And then also, like you said, getting into the classroom, it started off as an upgrade project of what can we get into the classroom to really get us into the modern age, to where we can keep up with other schools, but also to in future years how to get the what the kids are doing in the classroom out to the public. And that turned into a phenomenal situation with Stephen and with PTZ, getting I believe we have 4 cameras, correct, Stephen?
Yes.
That ended up being the final total, 220s, 230s, I believe.
Yes, correct.
Correct. And that is going to turn into a permanent rig inside of our video productions room, with the green screen with the capabilities. We have a phenomenal little, pretty decent studio, really, desk and whatnot for the morning announcements, for things like that, for news production. And then 2 are going to go into a mobile rig to where we can take the students can take them to a sporting event, to a board meeting, to anything that would need to get out, because we do have the software on a laptop and whatnot, to where really anything within network reach of the school district, we can stream that and get it out to the public through the social media pages. And that was a phenomenal deal, like you said, with Stephen.
I love the fact that you're mentioning that this stuff is not only available for mounting, inside, outside, but it's also good for a mobile rig. I mean, who thought bringing your entire video production studio into a bowling alley? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of great reasons for doing this. Steve, when a school district wants to reach out and work with PTZOptics, how do they do that? Is that something that a teacher should be able to do, or is that more the tech director or the business? Like, who does a company usually work with in the school district?
Yeah, we actually started working with, we reached out to the broadcasting teacher. Originally, Scott introduced me to her, and then we had went up the chain, I guess, to our, the superintendent, right?
Yeah, through the principal to the superintendent, and just kind of pitched him an idea of, hey, we have the opportunity to do this. And where we had the opportunity, we kind of had an obligation to really do it too.
And so I went into the boardroom. We had a meeting. Scott set up the meeting, and I brought a couple PTZOptics cameras with me, not as a sales pitch, but basically to show them what these cameras were capable of doing, because they knew graduation was coming, school plays were coming, families were asking, like, how do I get to see my kid in a play or even graduation? We didn't know what was going on, and so it was at that moment they were getting the cameras, but we also had volunteered to kind of help out in the troubling time, to go in there and shoot the plays, shoot the graduation, which then Scott is turning into now. They want to keep that around, even though school is going back as of right now, 100% 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm. And that is something that many school districts are doing right now, is they're bringing their kids back, they're bringing their community back, but they're trying to also make sure that they're thinking differently moving forward. And if you have any questions about this, certainly you can reach out to me. I'd be happy to put you in contact with everybody, or you can reach out directly to Steve and the whole entire team at PTZOptics. Steve, where can we go to reach out to you and learn more about all the great stuff that you guys can do together with your school districts?
Best thing to do is go to the website, PTZOptics.com, and fill out the form, and somebody will get in touch with you.
We certainly hope that you guys can do that. Scott, what do you see as the future? What are you looking forward to this year with your students, and especially all the great things that you're going to be doing together through broadcast streaming?
I think really the biggest thing is a lot of these things last year were done through the professionals, through myself, through Steven and whatnot. I think the biggest thing this year is going to be able to get the kids back into the classroom, of all things permitting, and really get their hands on it and see what they want to do, see what gets them excited about broadcasting, that gets them excited about, hey, let's do this event, hey, let's do that event. Get them from the camera operator to the announcer to the producer to everything there. It's like I said, it's getting the students really involved with the production system, with the new technology, and seeing where they want to go with it.
I love it. I love the story. I love how this technology is not only being used for community engagement, but it's also being used for curricular reasons. It's being used for student athletic reasons. Lots of great stuff, and lots of great reasons for you guys to check this stuff out for your school and your classroom. And if you do, we'd love to have you guys come on the show and share a little bit about how you guys are using this technology. Stephen, Scott, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you guys have a chance to check out everything over at PTZOptics and have a great time with your students this year. And that wraps up this episode of the TeacherCast podcast. Don't forget to check out all of our archives over at teachercast.net, where we've got hundreds of shows on educational technology, instructional technology coaching, and so much more. And today, I'm so happy that you guys have decided to make TeacherCast your home for professional development. So on behalf of Stephen and Scott, PTZOptics, and everybody here on the TeacherCast Educational Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury, reminding you guys to keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.
You've been listening to the TeacherCast Educational Network, hosted by Jeff Bradbury. Please reach out to the show with all of your questions on Twitter @TeacherCast or online at www.teachercast.net. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. And please take a moment to write a review in the App Store.
So thank you for sharing that video. And for those of you who may be new to this, don't be intimidated. That's definitely, what you just saw is more of a sophisticated use case. But today we are going to talk about really simple technologies to enable hybrid and remote learning from our company, HuddleCamHD. These are USB plug and play, easy to connect, easy to set up, easy for people like me who don't come from a hugely technical background, and Tess. And I just want to say, you can go that extra step, if you want to do some bigger, higher level productions using pan, tilt, and zoom camera choices from PTZOptics, utilizing NDI, which is a big deal today, video over IP, over the network. It's easier to manage, easier to control. Stephen, do you have any comments to add?
Yeah, I mean, it's really unique because you go into the school system and you start showing them all this gear and you think that they have everything, all the knowledge of everything, because it's a broadcasting class, and then you realize you're starting at the ground up as far as framing, color correction, understanding lighting. Like these guys, they want to all automatically go against that green screen. They want to sit right up against it, and anybody that's used a green screen, you don't want to do that because then you get the spill on it. So we're really starting from the ground up with these guys because a lot of the technology that they've used over the years has been really outdated. Like some of the stuff was from the early 90s. So that just gives you an idea, Tess, how it is.
So I know that you have helped them get this technology implemented, and they used it last year for their hybrid and remote activities. What are they doing this year? Anything new and different that you could share with us?
Yeah, actually, this is a whole new world for them inside the classroom. Like before, when they were doing their morning announcements, it was a single camera. They'd set it on a tripod like a Sony Handycam, and they would just film it using the built-in microphone. So now they're actually using microphones. They're using, eventually we're upgrading to the lapels, but multiple camera shoots, green screening, implementing NDI technology with the cell phones, because we all know teenagers are using their cell phones more and more.
Makes sense.
And they are wanting to go out onto the field and doing interviews with like the principal and things that they've never ever dreamed about. And they are using Wirecast, which is very simple for them to get going. And so they're really excited about that, to where I heard them today, the possibilities are endless. They're like, we could be on the football field and interviewing the coach during practice, or the wrestling coach, or the superintendent as we're passing him by in the hallway. So, or even interviewing the lunch lady of what's for lunch. So it's really cool to see what they're thinking about, right?
Well, that's such an important point for students who are engaged in learning journalism. You have to be able to get out there and do those, what they call, used to call man on the street interviews, getting out there to where the action is. So it's such a great learning tool. And parents, yes, you're right, Indy. Parents are much more tech savvy today. We have to be, right? I've got 3 children. My youngest is about to be 12, and he's very interested in online gaming and everything like that. So one of the other things that I just want to make sure that I mention, because my children go to private school, is, schools today have a duty to provide options for their students and for their teachers who may be immunocompromised, who, maybe in a scenario, we all remember hobbling into school when we were on crutches. And, you have to get the key to the elevator from the teacher today, you can say, hey, I've got 2 weeks on crutches. I can just, take these classes from home. So I think the world has really changed in that sense, in that it's just going to be something that people are looking for. Yes, Lindsay, I know. I wish I had this in high school too. So we have a question. Let me just
looking at the same one.
On YouTube, Indy's asking about NDI 5 bridge. trying to understand that. Well, that's probably would be a whole show topic unto itself.
Yes, yes. NDI Bridge is something that's still being worked on, fortunately by new tech and being able to do that. But the cool thing with that, and I'll just kind of summarize this because I know Tess wants to get on to some of the pictures, and she's got an awesome presentation for you guys.
No worries.
But NDI Bridge is the ability to bring NDI over the internet, and that's going to open up so many new doors, guys, because like Julia, you were saying, and Tess, you were saying, with everything, the uncertainty right now is in school, out of school, in school. It gives you the ability to bring these sources. You could turn on NDI there and NDI Bridge and send those sources back to your home studio and produce remotely without being in the classroom. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that workflow is implemented. And you know, and I'll have to report on it, you know, that's something as NDI 5 comes out, I'm going to be reporting for the show here and trying to implement that in the classroom if possible.
Especially like higher education, if you have some sort of IT administrator who's in charge of every lecture capture PTZ in every lecture hall, if they could manage all of those from one location and not have to go into that classroom, that would be really a cool use case too.
Absolutely.
There's one more I wanted to cover, and I'm sorry, Julie, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, you didn't. I was saying that's, you know, definitely on the PTZOptics side, that's what we're trying to achieve for our customers. But go ahead. Sorry, Tess.
No, it's okay. Just before we moved on, I just wanted to share Lawrence D's comment about how they're live streaming in their elementary school. My live stream helper is a local elementary school teacher, and she has used a lot of what we learned and set up NDI, PTZ, and OBS for House of Worship. She indicated House of Worship live streaming experience really improved her remote teaching. That's a great point. How the application is versatile in that way, how you can take the tools that you're using for maybe House of Worship and use it in an education setting, just like what I do for work every day. Then I go home at night and I help my son Jason do a little bit of an overlay in OBS to do some video game streaming. So it's definitely good knowledge to have.
Absolutely.
For those of you who maybe aren't as advanced technically, who don't have access to expertise or funds for some of those really high quality professional setups that we displayed with the PTZOptics technology, you may want to consider HuddleCamHD's products. We're going to share with you some plug and play, easy to set up, easy to use, friendly with all different video conferencing platforms. And Julia's going to help me along with that today.
And still great, high quality, high level, just easier to, you know, just plug and play. So if you want to take it from the classroom to the home, you know, these are tools that you can actually pick up and carry if you needed to. And yeah, I'm excited to see what you've got presentation wise for us, Tess.
Yeah, sure. These are some tools that we're going to go from like a learning from home or a teaching from home scenario. We're going to talk about something that's more a permanent solution for in the classroom, perhaps. And we're going to start with those learning from home tools. You'll see a few different webcams here. And what we're sharing with you today is what we see most of our customers that are educators are interested in. So this is going to be straight from the source, the trends that we're seeing. Starting with our webcam variations, we have the HuddleCamHD webcam 104. That means 104 for the 104-degree field of view lens, which is pretty cool because you can get multiple people if you needed within that frame. And it's a 1080p webcam. It's USB 2, so plug and play. One of the coolest things about this webcam is it comes with a webcam config tool that allows you to adjust some settings like brightness, exposure, white balance, and things like that. Some higher quality settings that you don't always have access to or control over in a small little webcam. There's a privacy cap, which I thought for education would be a really good point because privacy is such a huge concern, of course, with parents and students. Julia, what are your thoughts about using one of these smaller webcams in education?
It's easy. It's not intimidating. It does what you need it to do. It's so much more advanced than your the camera that you have on your laptop that's integrated into your laptop. And it's something like I carry around the PTZOptics version of this one, the PT Webcam 80. I just carry it around in my laptop bag. It's just so easy.
Yeah, and if you're looking for something that has the form factor of a webcam, but has quite a few, it's kind of a vast difference between the little 104 webcam. We have these two ePTZ webcams that we're going to show you today. One is a USB version that also has HDMI. Both these webcams have a 4K image sensor, so you're going to get that really crystal clear video. But they have the ePTZ electronic pan tilt zoom functionality. So you're able to set presets, positions of multiple angles and views of your classroom or of your office space and vice versa. We also have an NDI version of this camera, that network device interface. You can have an IP workflow in the form factor of a webcam, which is really cool.
Don't forget that it's Zoom certified.
That's right. And I didn't put that on the slide, and I feel a little upset at myself for not doing that. Yes, it is Zoom certified. So it's going to be certified by Zoom, compatible with their unified communication platform. And all of these webcams are going to work super friendly with any of your remote learning programs, as well as any of your unified communication software platforms. What am I missing on these? Some fun little facts here.
You've got the 4K image sensor, which you said. You can, pan, tilt, and zoom using an IR remote that looks like this. So that's really easy. It's, using the form factor of a webcam, you're actually using like a pan, tilt, and zoom camera. People are using it to live stream.
You're using right now?
No, I'm actually using the PTZOptics.
Okay, I'm using the HuddleCam USB ePTZ camera, and I love it because I can set presets and I can control the whole OSD menu and have like a lot of control over the picture that is going out to the audience. And it's also easy because I can tripod mount it or put it on my monitor. I choose to tripod mount it when I'm doing these virtual live shows, just so I can have a little bit more stability there and a better angle from above.
It's a big webcam. So, but people's minds get blown when they see like that you can adjust like using the remote when you're in a meeting, and you can change like the angle and zoom in and zoom out. It's very impressive. So it's something that you can use for a live stream if you want to be able to have an affordable solution, something that you can has that 4K image sensor. So it's been a hugely popular, award-winning camera for us. So we're very happy with it. So are our customers.
Indy in the chat is saying, which one of these cameras should a physical education teacher use? And that's a great question. I would suggest one of our PTZ cameras. I know we have a slide in between the webcams and the PTZ camera that we were going to feature today. So we'll get to that in just a moment. The only other thing that I remember that we forgot about the ePTZ cameras that is a really cool feature is they do have auto framing capability. So if you have a classroom where where your students are presenting maybe like a panel or something like that, if one student steps into the frame and out of the frame based on if you're talking and presenting at that time, it will focus on you.
And a microphone array.
Oh my gosh, of course. Just like all of our webcams, we do have a dual beam microphone array in them, so you get nice clear audio as well.
Right. So your teacher who wants to implement this and then wants like one-stop shopping, it's got it there. You're going to see and hear your teacher.
Yeah, and you actually could use this in a gym, but I would probably think you'd want a little bit more flexibility just because it just has the electronic pan tilt zoom. You're only allotted. Do you happen to know off the top of your head, Julia or Steven, the optical zoom or digital zoom, should I say, you would get with the ePTZ camera? I didn't jot that down. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know what it is off the top of my head either.
I want to say 8 times.
That sounds right. But I'm going to have to look that up.
I'm going to need a fact check on this one. Let's move
Yeah.
on to the next slide, and somebody fact check that for me. If Matt, if you're watching, give me an old fact check.
We need an intern. Okay.
Next, we're going to talk about some of our all-in-one solutions. So the HuddleCam Go does have a webcam, a 1080p webcam, but it also has a speakerphone. So everything you need in one device, your audio, your visuals, and your speaker. It's quite portable. It's about yay high, smaller than a foot long. And it does have a tilt mount. So you are getting some adjustment in the physical aspect of the camera, whether it's tilted. It doesn't have the zoom, so you won't get that, but you will have the tilt feature. Just like our other products here, we're talking about simple USB plug and play. The HC Go also has a super wide angle lens, so you can put it like we do in our conference room sometimes, just plop it on the end of the table, and you're gonna get a good 4 people in that frame just with that single camera.
Yeah, and that's been incredibly popular. I believe that we helped Rosemont College integrate some of these in one of their shared community spaces. So, you know, it's not something that, you know, you see very often. It's got a different kind of a form factor. It's sort of a unique looking product, but very, very useful. So the PTZOptics webcams has an 8x digital zoom. That's not, I don't know if she's referring to the HuddleCam EPTZ ones that we were talking about. So
she is, because you can't zoom in with the HuddleCam webcam 104. So it would only make sense that it would be the other ones, which is good because that's what we thought. So we weren't lying. We get to keep our jobs today.
It's hard to remember all this stuff, in all fairness.
It is. I know. I mean, I've been working here for a while, and so there's still little aspects that slip my mind.
So what's coming up next?
Yeah, so we just talked about, of course, there's an audio element of this. You'll see the buttons that you have control of on front of the HC Go is mute, and then volume up and down to control that speakerphone element. Next is another all-in-one solution. Not many people know about this one, but this is actually a really nice conference room solution, classroom solution if you wanted to mount this webcam on top of your smartboard or your whiteboard at the front of the classroom and have a speakerphone on the table. If you're like my son's kindergarten, if you had to quarantine, you're going to have a virtual feed into the classroom, but the teacher can't really address you. So a tool like this would be useful to just have out of sight, out of mind, camera showing the teacher in the whole classroom, speakerphone on the table so the students can hear you. So this is definitely a good solution for that type of scenario. It does have a wireless speakerphone, which is our HuddlePod Air. And then again, you're going to have a 1080p video camera. This does have a monitor mount like your standard webcam, but also a tripod mount if you wanted to actually put this camera on a mount.
And this was so incredibly popular again during the pandemic for both home offices, for classrooms. It has this camera has a 120-degree field of view. You mentioned the wireless speakerphone. It features an omnidirectional microphone, and it's designed to pick up a 360-degree pickup range for meeting spaces. So there's channels with echo cancellation. So this is like a really high quality audio video combination that's under $500. So, I mean, when you're talking about like wanting to implement something quick, affordably, you can outfit multiple rooms with a solution like this and, be within a reasonable budget.
That's a good point, that some of these solutions are really budget friendly, and we know that schools are under certain funding restraints. So that's definitely something to consider. I know we're continuing to get more comments about the gym spaces and some of those larger classrooms. Talking about our PTZ cameras next, we'll give you some options there. And we're highlighting today specifically our 3x optical zoom cameras. just because we were looking for kind of simpler, budget-friendly solutions. But we do offer solutions in 10x optical zoom, 20x optical zoom, and depending on the brand, 30x optical zoom. So you will have plenty of flexibility there in choosing zoom options. But our 3x PTZ camera is a 1080p camera. It does have robotic pan tilt zoom, so it's not the same as the electronic pan tilt zoom functionality. But these cameras, you can set over 64 presets, so you can have all different types of angles and views and zooms with a single operator, which is kind of what's unique about these cameras. And they can be mounted on a tripod, or they can be mounted with camera mounts anywhere in your space, whether that be the back of a classroom or a gym, as we were discussing earlier.
And Tess, we use this term presets so often because it's such a basic term for us, but not for those who may not know. Presets essentially, like, I'm just going to show you my remote here, and there's so there's some buttons here. You can program your camera to go to certain locations, so okay, well, if I hit 1, that's going to go to the teacher's desk, and 2 is going to go to the whiteboard, and if I hit 3, that's going to go to maybe there's like another area of interest, the back of the room, or some other place in the classroom. So that's just really takes makes everything easy for one person. You can just say, you've got a little cheat sheet. These are the presets. This is where they go. So I think that's just something important to note with these solutions, that you can kind of create like a little bit of a semi video production with, even one camera like that.
That's totally true. And with the PTZ cameras that we offer, they do have ways to connect multiple cameras together. They have RS-232 controls, so you can daisy chain the cameras and control them with a single joystick controller. So that's something else to think about if you're looking to connect multiple PTZ cameras for a larger space, or maybe some sort of event, whether it's sports, or we looked at theater earlier and the like. We're going to show you a different variation of this camera that actually has audio included. The 3XA, A for audio, is our audio embedded PTZ camera. And it comes in a 3x optical zoom and a 10x. And the previous camera that we showed you also comes in a 10x version as well. So it's quite similar to the 3x camera, except you do have that audio element. Again, it's just eliminating need for additional tools, and audio can certainly be challenging to manage as a single operator. So having it embedded in the camera just eliminates an extra step there.
Right. So that's a built-in microphone. This camera has an 84-degree field of view. And, again, it comes with that included infrared remote, and it's USB connected. So, again, like very sophisticated, but easy to use and affordable. This is under $600.
I think everything that we're discussing today is sharing some of those more, let's say, easier to implement products for education, because we've talked a lot on our channel about some really cool complex setups, but today is definitely about sharing some of those more basic needs that we know that schools are having. So that is our cameras that I selected for this. I know Stephen does have one other camera that we might want to mention for maybe if there's any universities or higher educators looking for an auto tracking scenario. We know that's a big hit in the education space, and I wondered if Stephen wouldn't just mind sharing about that for a moment.
I was hoping you were going to say that, Tess. It also comes from the HuddleCam line.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have one of the Simple Track cameras here in the studio, and don't mind the monitors here, but essentially, because once I stand up, you're not going to be able to hear me, and Tess, maybe you can kind of pick up. But when I stand up, this camera is actually going to track me. You can see it's already moving based on my movements here. But you'll see here, I'm going to stand up.
This is like the grand finale, Stephen. He's showing you. He's set blocking zones and tracking zones. This camera does come with its own control software where you can set such adjustments.
Notice the soundproofing that Stephen has in his studio that you may notice I do not have in my office. I have hard floors in here, so sometimes you do get a little bit of an echo.
Thanks for being forgiving, because we know Steven's setup is way cooler than any of ours, so it's tough to compete with that.
Pretty much.
But the cool thing with the Simple Track is you have some additional features within the software, as Tess mentioned, where you could set up HTTP commands if you want that advanced setup where it can actually trigger macros within vMix. And I believe OBS will also do things like that. I do it on the TriCaster to where I can trigger certain macros, like if it means moving a lower third down, triggering another camera, an outro, things like that. So there's a lot of versatility in this camera. If you're in a classroom environment where you stand in a certain area, maybe you want it to zoom in to your whiteboard or your chalkboard in certain areas. So you have that ability within the Simple Track as well. And we use it at the church for up to, we recommend up to 60 feet. So it works really well.
And the other thing that's important to note, this is a USB plug and play camera. However, it's been recently enabled for NDI. So you heard us talk a lot today about NDI and the important use case for NDI with, being able to control your video stream over the network, making it easy for your IT manager to, control multiple cameras, things like that. So you really do have the best of both worlds with this product.
Absolutely.
Got a question coming in from Lawrence D on YouTube. Thanks for your question, Lawrence. Lawrence says, is that auto tracking running on camera or on another computer?
It is actually running on the camera. It's over NDI. That's essentially how I have it set up, and it's working great. You can do SDI, as Julia mentioned, USB or HDMI. So you have a lot of versatility with this camera to bring it into your workflow or your production. I think it's a great option, especially if you don't have this, or don't want that advanced setup. You can just set it and forget it, and you want to use it for lectures or, dare I say, even school from home, where you want to set it up and follow you because you don't have any students to run the camera test. So that makes a really good option for folks out there.
If you had the ability, that would be that would be like the coolest work from home teacher ever, to have an auto tracking camera on you, like in your basement teaching a class. That would be pretty cool.
And there's certain classes that you really need that. So
I wanted to address this gentleman here, NLBC in the chat room about NDI 5. So on the TriCaster, I am using NDI Tools 5.2, I believe that's what I'm running. I also have it pulled up inside of vMix. It seems to be working. Now, I haven't tried it, just to be fair. I haven't tried it in OBS or the latest version. I'll have to check that out, maybe get back to you on a future show if it's working. But all my NDI tools are updated to 5.0 and have been for some time because of obviously testing and reporting back to our engineering team. So I'm not quite sure. It might be an OBS thing that it's not working for you. But yeah, Tess, we'll have to report back to them as we find out some more information.
Speaking of the chat, I just wanted to make sure I said thank you, especially if you're new here or returning here. Thank you guys for watching us today. If you haven't liked and subscribed on YouTube and Facebook, we would really appreciate it so we can continue bringing content like this to you. And let us know in the chat, how is your school or the school in your area, your kid's school, implementing remote learning? Is there anything we should know about, to learn about, to teach you about? So let us know.
Great point. And, look for us the first Thursday of each month at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. We will be talking about different technologies for different use cases, whether they be for educational purposes or corporate locations, houses of worship. We are really doing everything that we can to help to educate our customers, and also know that we do have an award-winning support team at PTZOptics and HuddleCamHD. When you pick up the phone to call us, somebody will answer the phone, between the hours of 8 and 6 Monday through Friday. So when you do buy one of our products or multiple products from us, you know that you sort of have a lifetime relationship with us. So that's something that we really strive to continue to do. And we have a robust knowledge base on our website, as well as user forums and social media groups. So there's a place for you here, and continue to reach out to us with any of your questions.
And I'd like to add, we also do a show the last Tuesday of the month that is targeted toward the House of Worship market. So if you know anybody that's in the House of Worship market that is looking for technical help, Julia and myself and Jeremy Klusterman of Resi Media do a show called Salt Talk. You can find it here on the PTZOptics channel, where we focus on broadcasting for your house of worship. So we'd encourage you guys, if you're into that, and you don't have to just be in a house of worship, Julia, you can use any of the knowledge that we're bringing in your school or in your college, whatever it is.
Absolutely. And that show airs the last Tuesday of every month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific. So it's a little bit of an earlier show, but you're absolutely right. You could just apply it to a different location. We do tend to talk a little bit more about worship scenarios and things like that, whether you're inside a church or a synagogue, or outside, or you're live streaming, or you're trying to bring audio and video to remote spaces like cry rooms and overflow spaces. But these are all challenges that many of our customers and our friends in the industry have encountered and been able to solve with a variety of different products, not just PTZOptics and HuddleCam. And we're here to showcase those solutions for you.
Well, I guess that's it for us today. I'm so happy to be back live with you guys. I feel like it's been forever, but we are back. Like Julia mentioned, we'll be back next first Thursday of the month. For some reason, she just says it better than I do, because it's hard to just say it, like the first Thursday of each month. We'll see you next first Thursday of next month.
And I'm pretty sure that is Thursday, October the 7th.
Thank you. That's what I should remember. Actually, we might have some interesting content next time, because NAB's next month. So we'll see what we have in store for you.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining. Thanks for your comments, like Tess said, and please don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's all for us, folks. We'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out with me this afternoon, or morning or evening, depending where you are.
Thank you, Stephen.